up on Carolina Week, the university is about to make a big payout because of something the women's soccer coach did 8 years ago.
John Kerry's supporters rally on campus, ready to help him push toward November's election.
And another Carolina Week exclusive from Russia, student reactions to democracy and the American dream. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to the March 24th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jenny McClendon.
And I'm Catherine Chang. Our top story tonight: the coach of the most powerful dynasty in women's college sports history will have to undergo sensitivity training to learn how to deal with female athletes. That's part of an out-of-court settlement involving Coach Anson Dorrance and the athletics department. Monday, the university settled with former soccer player Debbie Keller for $70,000. Keller charged that on 2 occasions, Dorrance made inappropriate and uninvited physical contact with her. The suit isn't over, however, because former player Melissa Jennings hasn't settled yet. She charged that Dorrance encouraged her to drink alcohol against her religious beliefs.
The presidential election is more than 7 months away, but that's not stopping some Carolina students from gearing up for what could be a fierce political battle. Carolina Week's Allison Sotzman joins us with the latest.
After months of primaries and caucuses, we finally know it's Bush versus Kerry in this year's presidential election. Now, many students are choosing to get the word out, and they're trying to get others to come with them. Campus political organizations are beginning to hold events to rally support for their respective parties in the November elections. The Democratic Unity Rally in the Pit Monday night vividly displayed the political passion felt by many UNC students. The Young Democrats organized the rally to unite groups like Students for Dean and Students for Edwards behind the now official presidential candidate John Kerry. Kerry has won primaries or caucuses in 31 states, netting more than 2,000 delegates. President of the UNC Young Democrats, Justin Guillory, says his organization is looking forward to banding together behind a single candidate.
For the past year, we really had to stay out of it a lot because of the primary. You know, it's a difficult time because lots of our members supported different candidates. Now it's a really exciting time because now we can all come back together now that John Kerry is the nominee.
Guillory is also president of the new group Carolina for Kerry. He read a message from the Kerry campaign thanking the UNC students for their support.
This race is not about the ads or the attacks, the polls or the pundits. It's about you. This is your election, because this is your future we're talking about.
The rally attracted opposition from the college Republicans who stood in the background carrying Bush-Cheney signs.
USA! USA!
Leaders of the groups Students for Dean and Students for Edwards spoke at the rally and officially threw their organization's support behind the Kerry campaign.
The senator has put his support wholeheartedly behind Senator Kerry, and that's what we're prepared to do.
Carolina for Kerry's campus coordinator, P.J. Lusk, had a message for the Bush supporters in the back.
We at the Kerry campaign have 3 words that you understand. Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on!
Lusk has supported Kerry throughout the Democratic primaries.
His stances on issues have been, about where the American people stand and where, and they reflect the kind of country that I want.
Although many students attending the rally agree with Lusk, the Bush supporters' attendance proves no matter which side of the political spectrum students are on, they're going to make their voices heard this campaign season.
USA!
The Young Democrats and college Republicans say not only do they have more rallies planned, but they're also getting ready to start dorm storming and campaigning in the Pit. Both organizations are looking for volunteers to help get the word out.
Allison Sotzman reporting live in the studio. Allison, thank you.
Gay marriage has been a big issue in states from New York to California, and on Wednesday evening, the debate comes to Chapel Hill. The town council is considering to ask the North Carolina General Assembly to repeal a law that says same-sex marriages aren't valid. The issue was added to the agenda of Wednesday's meeting at the urging of Councilman Mark Kleinschmidt, who is openly gay. The hearing is at 7 p.m. at Town Hall.
The Interfaith Council homeless shelter might soon have a new look. Town leaders, council officials, and church representatives met on Tuesday at the Amity United Methodist Church to set up work groups to get the renovations done after determining what resources they have available. While the renovations are going on, the IFC will move 12 groups of homeless clients to different churches so they'll have a place to stay. The president of the IFC, Natalie Amaral, wants the community to be involved in the project.
This planning group is taking a look at what kinds of changes IFC will need to make in the future. This is a community planning group that's going to be taking a look at what our facilities need to look like in the future, and how the town of Chapel Hill can work more broadly with the issue of homelessness.
Officials expect to start renovations of the shelter by Easter.
It's been more than a decade since the Iron Curtain fell, and Russia still has a long way to go on the road to democracy. I recently spoke with students and faculty at a university in Moscow about themselves and about us. March in Moscow is cold, beautiful, and right in the middle of the university semester. At an elite college in Moscow called MGIMO, Professor Chuck Stone led a group of 9 Carolina students on a week-long exchange. During one class, Professor Vladimir Lagoida told the UNC students he thinks Russia and America have fundamental differences.
If you want to understand how Russian culture differs from American culture, we have to first of all realize the differences between these two notions, the two notions of American dream and Russian idea.
Lagoida said Russians couldn't live without this national idea, but Westerners wouldn't be able to understand it. MGIMO student Elena Litovchenko says the Russian soul is also very important to her.
There is something like Russian soul. So all foreigners can understand what it is. But it's, for example, a Russian person can invite you at home and make you a dinner and make you sleep somewhere near him. And he will never tell, like, I have only a time for a cup of coffee and that's it.
National pride is one reason democracy has had trouble catching on in Russia. Lagoida says he doesn't think it's part of the Russian idea today.
What is this idea now? The road to democracy?
In order to be more democratic, but at the same time we have to remember our traditions. We have to remember that we have this Russian soul, this Russian traditions, this Russian way of life.
Maria Zonova said her expectations of the American students weren't too high.
I respected you were less intelligent, really. it was like that. I expected you were more reserved. No, you're very pleasant people.
Litovchenko said the American expectation that Russians don't smile is also untrue.
Because of this communist past, people got a bit tired. And when you're tired, you don't want to smile. Well, it's normal. Nowadays, we try to smile.
Many of the Russian students I talked with said they expected President Vladimir Putin's landslide re-election last week. Even though they officially have the right to free speech, one newspaper's publishing house we visited was forced to close for 4 days after criticizing the president.
We protect ourselves from getting the flu all the time.
But do you ever think that farmers have to protect their flocks from the disease as well?
There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
As part of a week-long campaign to show support for the troops, the group called Carolina Troop Supporters hosted a guest speaker in Manning Hall Tuesday night. Army Lieutenant Colonel David Haid, a commanding officer in the 82nd Airborne Division, talked about how fighting in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom has personally affected him.
I'm a little bit more emotional now. I can't even get through the national anthem. I'm sitting fighting my lip, and I didn't used to really be that way. Just because I've had to hear it so many times during soldiers this year.
Haid gave a slideshow that included photos from Iraq and maps depicting attacks on U.S. soldiers in his area of operation. Students took notes and afterwards signed a giant yellow banner to show their support.
Women's Week continues with events through the weekend. Organizers place displays advocating women's empowerment across campus. T-shirts with inspirational messages painted on them hang on clotheslines in the quad, and red cutouts in the new student union represent women and children killed by domestic violence. Women's Week isn't only for women. This display in the pit gets men to promise to have nonviolent relationships.
The Food and Drug Administration is calling for stronger warning labels to indicate that antidepressants might lead to suicide. The FDA isn't sure whether the cause of suicide is the drugs or the underlying illness. But until the issue is settled, the agency is asking doctors who prescribe antidepressants to closely monitor their patients for warnings of suicidal tendencies, especially when a patient starts therapy or changes the dose. The FDA is also asking 10 drug manufacturers to add or improve suicide-related warnings on their labels. The antidepressants of concern are Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Effexor, Celexa, Lexapro, Luvox, Remeron, Cerazone, and Wellbutrin.
According to the World Health Organization, avian flu, also known as bird flu, has infected millions of birds and killed 24 people in Southeast Asia since mid-December. One form of the virus has crept into the U.S. Medical reporter Angela Bell reports.
Veterinarian Eric Gonder is keeping a close eye on his turkeys because of the recent outbreaks of avian flu in Southeast Asia and the United States. Gonder works for Goldsboro Milling Company, a turkey production plant.
My responsibilities are to try and keep the birds as healthy as we can.
Avian flu has recently shown up in chickens in Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and Texas. The virus in the U.S. is a different strain from the one in Southeast Asia. Experts at the World Health Organization say the American strain doesn't pose a threat to humans. Epidemiology student Aaron Wendelboe says we should be concerned about the strain in Southeast Asia. Avian flu could spread quickly from person to person if the virus mutates or combines with the human flu.
And so because there's a precedent of this happening in the past, then they believe it will happen again. And it's just a matter of how severe is it going to be when it happens, and will we be able to prevent it from spreading like wildfire when it does happen.
Veterinarian Joanna Quinn says North Carolina doesn't currently have any cases of avian flu, but the state did have outbreaks in 2002. At that time, the flu hit 3 commercial poultry flocks.
The quick action in getting the flocks quarantined and depopulated actually was very instrumental in controlling the infection.
To protect their poultry from diseases such as avian flu, turkey producer Goldsboro Milling requires anyone who steps inside a turkey house to wear protective coverings such as these coveralls and plastic boots. Gonder says the company tests turkeys at 3 different times during their lives for avian viruses. Gonder also watches the flock closely. He says he hopes not to lose a single turkey to avian flu. In Goldsboro, I'm Angela Bell, Carolina Week.
Experts at the North Carolina Department of Agriculture are banning poultry imports from states with cases of avian flu in an attempt to protect the state's poultry supply.
Spring is a beautiful time of year. The sun shines and flowers bloom. But for some, spring means allergies, and allergies mean itchy, watery eyes and a runny nose. Because spring came a little early this year, so did allergies, caused mostly by pollen released from trees, but also by grasses and weeds. Doctors recommend a few things to control allergy symptoms for the millions of sufferers in the United States. Close your windows at night and your car while traveling. Limit your outdoor activity when pollen counts are the highest. Shower before you go to bed so you don't bring pollen into bed with you, and take medications prescribed by your doctor regularly and at the recommended dosage. With that spring weather, Meredith Croak joins us for Weather Report.
And it sounds like the sunshine we've been seeing is bringing sneezing and coughing too,
it's
huh?
all that pollen out. The tree allergies are really high this time of year. But before we get to our great weekend forecast, let's take a look at this week's weather question. and it is how many thunderstorms typically occur worldwide at any given moment. Is the answer A, 20, B, 35, or C, 145, or D, 325? We'll have that answer in your complete Carolina Week forecast when we return.
This is Mommy's bed. Me and Jenny were jumping on it. Mommy's gun fell on the floor. I was a cowboy. Bang, 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 bang. I said, Jenny, wake up, it's just pretend. But she wouldn't wake up.
Women today are fighting for their lives. More than half of the new HIV infections are among women, and if you don't think you're at risk, think again. I'm Rebecca Armstrong, and I am one of more than 1 million Americans living with HIV today. I got infected because I didn't think I was at risk, but I'm alive today because I got tested and I got treatment. Do yourself a favor. Get tested for HIV today. You can call this number for more information to find out where.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. First, let's take a look at your weekend headlines. We're going to have a weekend warm-up, very warm temperatures coming up for this weekend with bright sunny skies, and it's going to continue to be dry. We're going to see, we're about 4 inches below the normal rainfall for this time of the year, so that's going to continue. That could cause some problems coming up with some fire weather. Let's take a look at your satellite first. You can see clear skies over our region, just a beautiful, beautiful weather out there. These are clouds back to the west. That's going to be affecting us towards Saturday. But again, not too much to worry about. And you can see back farther to the west, just clear skies again. So a very nice few days coming up for us. Let's take a look next at your surface map. And you can see this high pressure system that's located to the east of North Carolina. That's going to continue to move eastward. And as that moves eastward, we can see some increase in clouds. That should happen during the day on Friday. But besides that, back to the west, there is a shortwave ridge that's going to move through. That might bring us a slight cool down, but it's going to continue to be pretty dry for the next coming week. And you can see back to our west, not too much to worry about. A high pressure system that will be moving through to the area towards Sunday. So again, very nice weather on tap for our forecast. Let's take a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast. You can see a high temperature on Friday, 75 degrees. It's going to be beautiful out there. And we'll have a low of 52 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Saturday, we're going to have another high temperature of 72 degrees. So that's Saturday. The front will be moving through some increasing clouds, but again, not too much to worry about on Saturday. A low of 45, so kind of chilly for the evening on Saturday. If you're planning on going anywhere, might want to take a sweatshirt or something. Sunday, 68 degrees. Very nice day on Sunday again to get out and enjoy. 48 for the low. And Monday, we'll have a high temperature of 70 degrees on Monday with a low of 40 degrees. And again, partly cloudy skies. Looks like it's going to be, even after that, very nice couple of days. If you're heading out to the beach this weekend, 72 on Saturday and for a low of 48. And Sunday, another day of 70 degrees and a low of 48. Very nice weekend on tap. Get out to the beach and enjoy that weather. Let's take a look now at your mountain forecast. You can see in the mountains, we're going to have temperatures in the mid-60s, 65 and a low of 42. And a high on Sunday is 65 and a low of 40. So again, very nice weekend to get out there and just enjoy this beautiful weather we're having above average temperatures. It's going to be a great weekend. Let's take a look at your ski forecast. If you'd like to get out for some spring skiing, there is still one local ski resort that is open, and that's Appalachian Mountain in North Carolina. And that has 100% of its trails open with 9 trails and a 42 to 88-inch base. They say they have packed powder surfaces, and this might be the last weekend you're able to get out there and enjoy that skiing. Sugar Mountain is closed for this season now due to this all this early season warm weather that we've been having. So, but it looks like it's going to be just a great weekend to get out there and enjoy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to flip-flops more than skis.
Yeah. So does anybody have a guess for this week's weather question?
I think I might aim high and go for D, just to C.
Sounds good.
Well, actually, the answer is A. It's 20 thunderstorms will occur at any given moment, and that's mostly due to in the tropics. Thunderstorms occur on a regular basis.
All right, not too bad and not too many heading our way, so looks like we're good.
Looks like it's going to be great.
Thanks, Meredith. Luke Notstein joins us now with sports.
Luke, I know that the Tar Heels have been knocked out of the tournament. I think we're all a little bummed about it, but do you have good news about the rest of the Tar Heel sports for us?
Oh, sure. The tournament was tough. It's been tough for ACC teams, but it's a great thing about sports is that when one sport ends, others begin. So we've always got something to look forward to. Speaking of ACC, the intensity of ACC action doesn't stop with the basketball tournament. Men's and women's tennis take on ACC foes coming up. Plus, there's a new team in Baseball America's Top 25. Find out if the Carolina baseball team makes its new ranking. Stand up.
Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, King of the Apes, Father of Boy. He knows what it takes to be a dad. You go for a ride, you take a swim, you hang out. All it takes is time. Hey, it doesn't take a hero, but it takes a man to be a dad.
The men's tennis team is working hard these days. After weekend warm-ups against UNCG and UNC Wilmington, the Heels' next 7 matches are against ACC opponents. The men's tennis team is 15-2 so far this season, and the 7-match stretch could decide how well the Heels finish. Carolina hosted Maryland Tuesday before facing NC State Wednesday. Against Maryland, after grabbing the doubles point, the Tar Heels had a tough time going into singles action. Number 2 seed Andy Metzler lost his cool and fell back in the first set 1-6. But after a little chat with himself, Metzler fought point for point until he grabbed the 3-set victory. At number 1 singles, Carolina's Nick Monroe showed Metzler how to stay cool, breezing by UM's Troy Dreamer 6-2, 6-2. UNC's 7-0 sweep showed there was no reason to fear the Turtle. Wednesday, the Heels proved there's no reason to fear the Big Bad Wolf either. In number 3 doubles, the Wolfpack gets themselves in trouble, but it's still tight until Rayon Lucici slams one home to give the Tar Heels the doubles point. With the men's team playing on the courts, the women's team is still waiting for its match. The baseball team is back in the top 25 this week at number 24 after a 3-week hiatus. Tuesday, the Tar Heels took on the Towson Tigers, hoping to continue their strong play. Up 2-1 in the 5th, the Heels nearly got tired of scoring. They sent 11 men to the plate and scored 6 in the inning with the help of a Justin Webb grand slam. Tar Heel starter Whitley Benson gave up only 1 run in 6 strong innings. Carolina won by a nose 14-1. And head coach Mike Fox is looking forward to ACC play on Friday.
Excited. I mean, anytime we got a national caliber team coming in here, I mean, it's it's supposed to be warm. So we're excited about Florida State coming in. They got a great program.
After stomping Towson yesterday, the Tar Heels met them in a rematch Wednesday. After an uneventful first inning, the Tigers began the second inning with a run by Bobby Paduana for a score of 1-0. In the bottom of the second, the Heels respond with men on second and third base as Sammy Hewitt nails a hit for a Carolina single run that followed with a hit by Justin Webb to right field. And the score is now Carolina 2, Towson 1. The men's lacrosse team is ranked 4th in the national polls this week after beating its 4th straight ranked opponent. The Heels would have had a shot at number 5 against Cornell Tuesday night, but the match was postponed because of the tragic death of Cornell captain George Biordi. In a game against Binghamton last Wednesday, Biordi was defending a shot on goal when the ball struck him in the chest. Biordi collapsed on the field and did not regain consciousness. He was 22 years old. UNC head coach John House says the tragedy affects Carolina as well.
It has hit home with one of our players who was a teammate of the fellow at Cornell in high school, and that was Dave DiBianco. And so you know, he's been a little down in the dumps right now and has been out of practice for a couple days. And I think that in turn does affect our team in some ways.
Sports Information Director for men's lacrosse Dave Losey says the postponement of the game was Cornell's decision. He also says it's Cornell's decision whether to make up the match or not. With Carolina's second-round loss to Texas in the NCAA tournament, another basketball season has come to an end. But there's no need to sulk. Alex Hurst turns it blue one last time for a recap of the season.
The catch, no good. Tucker rebound, and Texas knocks out North Carolina.
And like that, it's over. In Chapel Hill, the Smith Center seats are empty. There's no sound of basketballs hitting hardwood. The nets are still attached, and no new banners are hanging. Wait, that's no fun. Let's rewind. The players had hair. The fans had hope. Coach Roy Williams said his team was hungry.
I cannot imagine anybody in the country being more hungry than we are. I mean, this is North Carolina, and we haven't been, nobody on my team has ever been.
Early in the season, Carolina won big games against Illinois and Georgia Tech. Both those teams are still in the tournament. UNC shocked #1 UConn, also still in the tournament, and tied up the Wolfpack, sweeping the season series with NC State. But the Heels struggled on the road and were beaten by Duke twice in close games. Roy Williams knew the expectations were high for these Tar Heels, but he also knew that he had a young and inconsistent team.
Sometimes we've been pretty doggone good, and it's just our consistently inconsistent play has really hurt us. And I think that there was some unrealistic expectations, and perhaps still are. But I do think that one thing is that we're awfully close.
Inconsistency might define the season. No huge win streaks, lots of close games watching other teams hit big shots for the win. But why dwell on it? The banners are still hanging, the fans are still hoping, and avid Heels fans can't wait until next season. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alex Hurst, Carolina Week Sports.
All current players say they plan to return to the team next season. Well, ladies, it was a tough loss for basketball, but like Alex said, they're all returning, so we'll see what happens next year.
Sure was, and as Roy said, they were really close, so
And I'm
maybe
glad
next
they're
year we'll
sticking
get there.
around. I think we've got some new recruits coming in who I hear have pretty good news on them.
Yep, something to look forward to.
Sure is.
Thanks,
Luke. Well, if you just can't get enough of the Carolina spirit,
there's a new way to get more and spread it around online.
Recycling a glass bottle saves enough energy to run the TV you're watching for 1 full hour. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world. Making a can from recycled aluminum instead of from raw materials reduces air pollution by 95%. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world. Recycling all our Sunday papers would save over 500,000 trees a week. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Staying in touch while you're away at school just got a little easier. Now you can send free electronic greeting cards through the university website. The cards range from shots of the old well to graduation scenes to cartoons about taking exams. They all have a Carolina twist. To send one, just log on to the Student Affairs website or go to carolinaweek.org for a direct link. And with graduation right around the corner, a lot of people are probably going to be getting those graduation cards.
Absolutely.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.
They're pretty cute and they're free.